Welcome back. Markets are in fine fettle. We're still up close to about 1.4%, though we have slipped a tad bit from the top of the trading session, especially the mid-cap index. If you could get that up for you on your screen, the mid-cap index has seen a fall of close to about 150 points from the top. There you have the mid-cap index. But let's talk about, finally, there is a big Bollywood release. The highly anticipated Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt starrer Brahmastra has hit the screens. We're now joined by Karan Taurani of Elara Securities to help decode what it can do for the multiplexes and more. Karan, thanks so much for joining in. Have you managed to catch it yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so you're going to go by the reviews which are there on Twitter.
Absolutely. I think the reviews have been mixed so far, more trending towards the negative.
So, the multiplexes, Bollywood itself has gone through a big lull in the last couple of months, and Brahmastra was expected to break that. Your thoughts, can it do that?
Doesn't look like, as of now, if you look at the trends in terms of reviews, it's been more negative than positive. Actually what has happened right now that in terms of estimates for this film as well, we are anticipated a wide range of box office collection lifetime, being in the range of 130 to 190 crores. So if the word of mouth is good, the film would have, breached 180 to 200 crores kind of a number. Because we did see very strong openings, for this film. In terms of advances, I think the day one collection could be in the range of 25 to 30 odd crores. And that's primarily been, because of the buzz that film is. It's a different kind of a film. It's a large franchise film. But it purely depends, tomorrow onwards in terms of, how the numbers really trend. And as of now, I think it's mixed, signaling more towards the negative. So we might end up, somewhere towards the lower end of our estimate.
I think we should pull up the stock price of PVR and Inox. Karan, as you speak, you are seeing a negative reaction in the stock price. So PVR has slipped close to about 4.5% from the top of the trading session. Inox Leisure 2 is down close to about 3.5%. You were anticipating a pickup in occupancies. How would this change your Q2 estimates for PVR as well as Inox?
So I think in terms of, purely box office revenues, we were expecting a decline of 40% plus. I think the month of July and August have been very dismal. The content has really not picked up. In the last, I think, 6-8 months, we have seen close to 12 to 13 large films, which have really bombed at box office. We've seen 7 to 8 medium budget films, which have not done well at all. So I think we were anticipating that, this quarter will be a quarter which will be the worst quarter, for the exhibitors in the last 5 years. And that is where we are heading towards. But if Brahmastra, ends up towards the lower end of our guidance or probably even lower than that, this could be the worst quarter even beyond 5 years. So I think there are concerns in the near term because of, the content not doing well. But I think, this recovery will come back very sharply. I'm anticipating that, Q2 FY24 onwards, we are going to see a very sharp recovery in terms of box office. And a lot of things are going to change here. We've seen this in the past as well, when you saw Bahubali 2 releasing, a lot of the films actually flopped, on a back-to-back basis. But then you saw the entire change in terms of scripting, in terms of story, direction, because the content, because the audience preference, keeps on changing in terms of content. So I think they will make a comeback. It's a matter of time. I'm not expecting that, Hindi's content is going to go anywhere. It is very much here to stay.
Karan, did you say Q2 of FY24? Because that is a while away.
Yeah, I'm saying Q2 FY24. So basically what I'm talking of, films, doing consistently well as they were doing pre-pandemic days. I think that is how it's going to be. So currently we do have films. I mean, there is Vikram Vedha, which looks promising. There is PS1. There are some more films, Ram Setu, which is coming, around Diwali time. So there could be some positive surprises, the next 2-3 months as well. But, films doing well back-to-back on a consistent basis, like how they were doing the pre-COVID days, I think that is still some time away because whatever content we are going to see right now is backlog content. And all this content was, conceptualized and created, 2.5-3 years back. And what the pandemic has actually done is that it has actually exposed the audience to a lot of new type of content, regional content, dubbed content, wherein the audience is really wanting to watch that kind of stuff, which they did not earlier. So I think the taste preference are changing and basis that the industry also needs to change themselves. It's a transition phase and it's a cyclical industry. I mean, these kind of cycles do keep coming and going. So I'm very confident that, next year, towards the second half of, CY23, there's going to be a very strong comeback for Hindi box office.
Okay, but this current quarter is going to be the worst perhaps in the last 5 years. That's your anticipation. And July and August occupancies, as you pointed out, are very, very low. Just about 20%. Is that the number that you anticipate for July?
It is sub 20%. It is sub 20% for
20%.
July and August.
And September?
Yeah, and I think with September, I think if Brahmastra breaches that 180, 200 crore kind of a number, I think occupancies will move towards 28 to 30%. But that looks highly unlikely given the initial reviews as of now. And we might see September month also having an occupancy of 18-20%. So which means that this quarter will be a quarter where the exhibitors just about breaking even in terms of EBITDA margin. And what this does is, this is just box office revenue. This has a huge spillover impact on other metrics. So your SPH, food metrics, ad revenue, It has a huge spillover impact. So EBITDA margins could actually trend much lower as anticipated.
Okay, so Karan, in this context, when you're saying that this quarter will definitely be the worst and recovery might take a while as well, right? You were saying FY24, Q2 of FY24. In that context, how do you look at a few of these stocks? Because, I mean, if this kind of pressure could persist for some time, and right now we're talking just about the box office. You yourself mentioned that, of course, the food revenues, advertising, all of that also comes into effect. How would you look at the stocks in this context?
So I think, from a stock standpoint, there is a negative implication in terms of near-term weakness, which one cannot, debate about. But my only point is that there is a merger, which is a big trigger. And I think that is moving fairly fast. We saw exchange approval coming in much earlier as compared to Zee-Sony in terms of the merger. So I think if the merger process actually comes up and moves at a faster pace, that is going to be a big trigger for the stock because there are ample synergies, right from advertising to convenience fee put together. And the stock prices have corrected. I mean, if you look at PVR Inox, last month, they have already corrected almost about 15 to 20%, which was factoring in this weak quarter. And, around the month of July is when we raised a warning signal that this quarter will be one of the worst quarters. So I think prices right now are, at a reasonable valuation. They may have a 5-10% downside if things go worse from here on at max. But I think the potential upside from medium to long-term perspective is very great. So I am not, I have no issue in terms of the future of cinemas. So the future of cinemas, future of Hindi box office, the film industry is very bright. This is just a cyclical trend, which is kind of impacting performance right now.
Well, no, we're not questioning the future of Bollywood in the long term. We're just talking about the near and now. And
maybe whether we should catch Brahmastra today or not.
Whether we should catch Brahmastra today or any time.
Yeah, well. And it seems like our ticker team is really trying to talk to us. The stocks have slipped further. So take a look at PVR, Inox, both of those slipping even further right now, down around 4% on each of those counters.
Did you catch the movie?
I'm not too keen on it, to be honest, but I think you should answer that question.
I'm just waiting for the real reviews to come in.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced about day one reviews, so I'm going to wait for the reviews.
All right, so we'll wait. Bye for now. The stocks of both of these companies are under pressure right now. So let's see how it pans out. And with that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Trading Hour. Thank you very much for tuning in. Halftime Report is up next.